So we have Bob Arum trying to make a matchup between the Axeman and High Tech Lomachenko. Nicholas Walters versus Lomachenko for June 11th is what Bob Arum says he's trying to do, and that's he says he's trying to get it at the Madison Square Garden. And this is a great matchup. A lot of people have been talking about trying to see Lomachenko move up again. You know, he's only had about two legitimate wins, and that's Orlando Salido and Gary Russell Jr. So people are saying, you know, he's good, but he's only had a couple fights. We need to see him keep on fighting the top guys. And I think this is definitely a step in that direction, taking out probably the most dangerous guy at featherweight. But the thing is, they're going to move this to lightweight. And Lomachenko's never been at lightweight before. He's only had about 5-6 fights. And Walters, while he has been the featherweight champion, he beat Nonito Donaire, but he has had about 6 or 7 fights above featherweight, coming in around 128, 129. So he's had several of those fights before. So it looks like maybe he's a guy that capitalized on opportunity for a title, and he went down in weight and just kind of fluctuates up and down wherever the opportunities are. And so I think this is a great matchup. Like I said, it's taking a look at both guys. Both guys have like maybe a win or two over against top guys, but not much more than that. So, Walters, he took out Big Darchinian, and he beat Nonito Donaire. But other than that, who is there to talk about? There's only 2 guys on each guy's resume that I think are worth mentioning. And so a quick look at him. Nicholas Walters, he's 26-0, 1 draw, but I think that draw was all BS. We all saw that versus Mariaga. He's has 21 knockouts out of those 26 wins, compared to Vasyl Lomachenko's 5-1 record with 3 KOs, and that one loss was to Orlando Salido, and it went 12 rounds, and he has 3 KOs. So 50% KO ratio for High Tech, and a 78 KO for the Axeman, Nicholas Walters. Their height, they stand about the same, even though it has them listed above 5'7". I really think that Walters might have an inch or so on him. The reach, here's the interesting part. It's quite a reach gap. It's a 65-inch reach for Lomachenko and a 73-inch for Walters. And as far as their age, one's 30 years old, one's 28 years old. So, they're both around I think their peak, the prime of their careers, and I think the time to make this fight is coming up. And I think they would have kept on fighting these guys that no one's really heard of, like the Romulos and the Mariagas and random guys. Eventually you got to step it up. Lomachenko, give him credit. He's been doing that from his very second fight when he lost to Orlando Salido, but he was trying to capture a title. He's trying to make his way into the rankings. And Lomachenko, he was Olympian. Walters, he's a power puncher. He took out Nonito Donaire, he took out Darchinian, and I think they both have exciting styles, but in different ways. Lomachenko's flashy in his movements, in his speed, in his combinations, while Walters is exciting in his come forward, big power punches, big big swings, and takes guys out. So as far as who I'd pick, I'm not gonna go ahead and pick that. I'd have to look a little closer at them and watch some of their fights, but I think it's a great matchup for me right now. It's a 50-50 fight. I don't know. If anyone maybe has the advantage, I'd go ahead and say Walters, just because of the height and the power, plus more fights at the pro level, and he has had that experience at 128, 129. So he's basically been a lightweight before for at least 6 or 7 of his fights. So let me just go ahead and give you a quote that Bob Arum said. He says, "Lomachenko, I think, is the best fighter in the world. But when you have a guy with who punches like Walters, there's always a danger in that fight. Hopefully, we can get the card done with HBO. They're not 100% yet, but it's moving in that direction. And I also saw an interview with Bob saying that probably next week that they'd hope to announce this fight. So hopefully it does get announced next week and they can make it happen. So June 11th, Madison Square Garden, the Axeman versus High Tech, Nicholas Walters versus Lomachenko. Tell me what y'all think. All right, guys, have a good one.